more on the straw man. In the previous video, I put forth the hypothesis that the straw man, as we understand it in the series of logical fallacies, is, from a certain point of view, inevitable and even necessary. I just want to clarify that. I was talking originally about the straw man as it exists in an argument. And I said that there's really no way of doing, of engaging in an argument or in a debate or a discussion without straw manning the other guy, the person you're debating with. Now, that's the bit which might actually need the clarification. I mentioned in a previous video that I don't really believe that language is up to the task that we set it, i.e., conveying ideas from one mind to another. Simply because we're already, let's say that there's communication taking place between two people, we're already so riddled with biases, preconceptions, prejudices, this kind of thing, that before one even begins to speak, the person has your audience, as it were, has a distorted view of what you're going to say. And then once you do say it, it's subconsciously altered out of all recognition. Or, even before that takes place, the terminology that I use is based upon biases that exist already in my mind, the metaphors that I will use, the turn of phrase that I will use, my body language, a multiplicity of things will inform the way that I speak. And it might give off certain ideas that I don't mean to give off, or it may inadvertently give these off. So, I support the view that it really isn't possible to understand completely and accurately what someone else is trying to say to you, because it's not possible to accurately and comprehensively say what you're trying to say. So, we're left with the great big huge question mark, or this could lead one to jump to the conclusion that it's now impossible to say anything about anything. Well, I don't mean, I won't go that far either. This is where the utility of the straw man comes in. Somehow, we've got to cope with other people. We've got to communicate with other people. So we form an idea in our mind what this person is attempting to say, and through trial and error, we can usually get reasonable approximation of what they're attempting to say. But I would say that when you start, when you try and put things into sharper focus, no, it's a useful tool, but it won't get you to the ultimate truth. Simply because, as I said, inevitably you bump into that failure of language. But we still have to deal with the people around us. So we create a persona in our mind for each person that we ever deal with. We make up our minds. We create this vision, this idea in our mind what this person represents to us. Now that's loaded down with all kinds of our own prejudices. In fact, the other people that we know or that we deal with in our lives, we kind of invent ourselves in a manner of speaking, because our perception of that person is our perception of that person alone. It's not somebody else's perception of that person, and it's not their perception of themselves. All of these are going to be completely different. But again, we have to figure out how to relate to this person. So we invent a straw man. We invent a distorted view of that person in order for us to be able to interact with that person. The same thing can be said whenever that person says anything. Whatever we hear that they say is distorted because it's already, before they start to say anything about it, based on a multitude of preconceptions and biases, and then by the time it gets to us, it runs smack into our preconceptions and biases. Therefore, it's very, very, very difficult, if not impossible, to really accurately convey ideas back and forth. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to accurately gauge another human being, to figure out what they're like. This person, let's say they're a 45-year-old individual, that person has 45 years of experiences that make them what they are at the present moment that I'm interacting with them. I couldn't possibly know everything there is to know about this person. So I'm going to build a partial picture of this person based on my experiences with this person, very limited ones, maybe 1/1,000,000th of 1% of what makes the totality of this person is what I've got to go on. So I have to build a construct in my mind of this person. I have to build a construct in my mind of this person's ideas. So someone gives me a Coles Notes version of what they're trying to tell me. I've already decided in a certain way what they've said, even though it may not bear any resemblance to what they're trying to say. I know this is very difficult to get at, and it kind of neatly illustrates my point in that language can't express things correctly. The world is a sort of a construct. People that we deal with in the world are constructs of our own minds. And we ourselves are constructs of our own perceptions because we are perceiving and interpreting our own experiences. And each of us is going to have a different straw man out there for everything that we ever experience. It's all going to be different. Everyone's view of everything that has ever existed or has ever been perceived is going to be different. Again, that doesn't mean that we are incapable of interacting. There's too much evidence to the contrary. But we have to bear in mind that what we are doing whenever we try to interact is we are creating straw men. We are creating false or imprecise or distorted visions of that other. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think that we should bear in mind at all times that this is all that we are doing. Like I say, it would really cut down on the conflict if we would bear this in mind. Thank you.